Good day everyone, this is your mathematics class with Teacher Camille. So let's have a short review. Perform the indicated operations and simplify your answer. So number 1, 3 over 8 plus 1 over 8. So kung mapapansin natin, pareho yung denominator natin, pareho silang 8. So ang gagawin lang natin is just copy the denominator and add the numerator. So, we will have 4 over 8. So, paano natin nakuha yung 4 over 8? So, again, kapag pareho yung denominator, kokopyahin lang natin siya. So, we have 8. And then, i-add natin yung numerators natin. Si 3 and si 1. So, 3 plus 1 is 4. Then, we need to simplify our answer. So, how? So, mag-iisip tayo ng number na pwede nating ipan-divide sa numerator and sa denominator. So, pwede yung 2, pwede yung 4. Pwede ba yung 8? No, kasi hindi natin siya ma-divide sa 4 kasi mas mataas siya sa 4. So, gagamitin natin is 4. So, 4 divided by 4 is 1 and 8 divided by 4 is 2. So, we will have 1 over 2. The sum of 3 over 8 and 1 over 8 is 1 over 2. Next, number 2. We have 12 over 13 minus 7 over 13. So, pareho ulit yung denominator natin. Pero, iba na yung operation. So, ang gagawin natin dito, magma-minus naman tayo. So, same rule pa rin kapag magkapareho ng denominator, copy lang natin yan, and then, i-minus naman natin yung numerator. 12 and 7. So, we will have 5 over 13. How? Again, copy the denominator, which is 13. And then, 12 minus 7 is 5. So, meron pa ba tayong number na maidi-divide pareho dito sa numerator and sa denominator? Okay, wala na. So, this is the simplest form of the difference of 12 over 13 and 7 over 13. Okay, next. 2 over 3 times 3 over 5. So, this one, i-multiply lang natin numerator to numerator and then denominator to denominator. So, 2 times 3 and 3 times 5. So, we will have 6 over 5. Again, 2 times 3 is 6. 3 times 5 is 15. So, let's find the simplest form of 6 over 5. So, saan natin sila pwedeng i-divide pareho? Pwede ba sa 2? No, hindi tayo makakakuha ng eksaktong sagot kapag dinivide natin si 15 kay 2. Pwede bang 3? Okay, pwede. So, let's divide 6 and 3. So, we will have 2. 6 divided by 3 is 2. That's our numerator. And then, 15 divided by 3 is 5. So, that's our denominator. So, the product of 2 over 3 and 3 over 5 is 2 over 5. This is the simplest form. Let's have number 4. 1 over 3 plus 5 over 12. So, we have different denominators. So, ang gagawin natin is to find the LCD or the least common denominator. So, we will have 12. 12 as our denominator. So, paano tayo nagkaroon ng 4 plus 5 sa taas? First, let's have this 1 over 3. So, 12 divided by the denominator 3, which is 4. And then, 4, multiply natin sa numerator 1. Again, 12 divided by 3 is 4. 4 times 1 is equal to 4. So that's our number 4. Then, copy the operation which is addition or add. So we have 12 divided by 12 which is 1. And then, 1 times 5 is 5. Now, let's perform the operation on the numerator. 4 plus 5 is 9. So, just copy the numerator. So, 9 over 12. So, pwede pa ba natin siya i-simplify? Okay, pwede pa. So, i-divide natin sila pareho sa 3. 9 divided by 3 and 12 divided by 3. So, we have 3 over 4. Alright, next, number 5. 4 over 5 minus 2 over 15. Again, magkaiba ulit tayo ng denominator. So, let's find the LCD. So, what is the LCD? So, we will have 15. So, how did we get 12 minus 2? Again, repeat the process dito sa number 4. So, we have 15, our LCD. I-divide natin siya sa denominator ng first given natin, which is 4 over 5. And then, i-multiply natin sa numerator. Okay, again, 15 divided by 5 is 3. Then, 3 times 4, we have 12. Next, 15 divided by 15 is 1. Then, 1 times 2 is 2. And then, kinopya lang natin yung minus sign. So, subtraction to, kukunin natin yung difference. So, again, i-copy yung denominator and then, i-minus natin yung numerator. So, 12 minus 2 is 10. And our denominator is 15. So, pwede pa ba natin tong i-simplify? Okay, pwede pa. So, i-divide natin sila into 5. 10 divided by 5 is 2. 15 divided by 5 is 3. So, the difference between 4 over 5 and 2 over 15 is 2 over 3. Now, let's talk about the rational number. Rational number is expressed as a fraction or decimal. Every terminating or non-terminating repeating decimal represents a rational number. Now, let's have the square root. A square root of a number is a number when multiplied to itself will give you the original number. So, for example, so this sign, ang tawag dito is radical sign. So, ginagamit natin to sa square root. Then, yung number na nasa loob, yan yung ating radicand. Then, yung magiging answer natin kapag kukunin natin yung square root is our root. So, our root is positive and negative integer. For example, so this sign, this black sign, na parang check na may guhit sa taas, ang tawag natin dyan is radical sign. So, where is the root? Is it 4 or 2? Alright, our root is 2 and the radicand is 4. So, this is a square root chart from 1 to 20. Perfect square. So, square root of 1 is 1, square root of 25 is 5, and hanggang 20. So, ito yung mga halimbawa ng mga perfect square natin. So, kapag minultiply ko daw si 1 sa sarili niya, ang magiging sagot is 1. Kapag minultiply ko si 5 sa sarili niya, which is 5 times 5, magkakaroon tayo ng 25. And then, ganun din sa 9 times 9, we have 81. So now, let's have 20. So 20 times 20, we have 400. Okay, next. What is the square root of 9? So, pag binalikan natin yung chart natin kanina, alam natin asan ang square root of 9. Ito, ang magiging answer daw is 3. Paano kapag hindi mo tinignan yung chart na to? Paano natin makukuha yung square root of 9? So, ang gagawin natin is mag-multiply tayo ng number sa sarili niya hanggang makarating tayo doon sa 9. Pwede kang mag-umpisa sa 5, sa 10, sa 8, kahit saang number na palagay mo na malapit doon sa hinahanap nating square root. So, mag-start tayo sa 1. So, we will multiply 1 by itself. So, 1 times 1, we have 1. Next, 2. 2 times 2, we have 4. Then, 3. 3 times 3, we have 9. Alright, we have a square root of 9 here. So, we will just get the principal root of this square root of 9. Saan ba nanggaling yung square root of 9? Paano tayo nakakuha ng square root of 9? Ang ginawa ba natin is, minultiply natin si 3 sa sarili niya. So, ang root natin is 3. So, the square root of 9 is positive and negative 3. Kasi, pag nag-multiply ka ng positive 3 times positive 3, makukuha mo is positive 9. Kapag naman nag-multiply ka ng negative 3 and negative 3, makukuha mo pa rin is positive 9. Kasi ang rule natin sa multiplication, same sign, ang magiging answer natin is positive number. And then kapag naman different sign, ang makukuha natin is negative number. So since sa square root, ang ginagawa natin is minumultiply natin yung isang number sa sarili niya, ibig sabihin magkakaroon siya ng same sign. So kung positive yung number mo, positive din yung imumultiply mo sa kanya. Kung negative yung number mo, negative din yung imumultiply mo sa kanya. So again, the square root of 9 is equal to positive 3 and negative 3. Next, what is irrational number? If the square root of a number is non-terminating and non-repeating decimal, so masasabi natin siya na irrational number. For example, we have 5. So 3.1415 and so on. So hindi natatapos yung decimal number. This is an example of non-terminating decimal as it keeps on continuing after the decimal point. So tuloy-tuloy lang kasi yung number after ng decimal point. So that's our irrational number. Next, we have a positive number. A positive number has two square roots. One is positive and the other is negative. So kagaya ng example natin kanina, we have a positive 9. So meron tayong dalawang square roots, positive 3 and negative 3. Next, what is principal square root? It is the positive square root of the given number or the radicand. So the principal root is rational if the radicand is a perfect square. Ano ba yung mga perfect square natin? So balikan nyo lang yung chart natin kanina. Then, kapag daw hindi perfect square, yun yung tinatawag naman natin na irrational. Again, kapag perfect square, ang principal root natin, yun ay rational. Then, kapag naman hindi siya perfect square, yun naman ay irrational. Next, we have 0. 0 has only one square root, which is 0. So, ano ba daw yung number na pag pinag-multiply mo sa sarili niya, ang magiging sagot is 0. Okay. So, the square root of 0 is 0. 0 times 0 is 0. In addition, negative numbers do not have real square roots. Their square roots are called imaginary numbers, which are tackled in the higher branch of mathematics. Square roots are the numbers that, when multiplied by themselves, equal to the number under the square root sign, which is the radicand, and if the principal square root is irrational, the best you can do is to give an estimate of its value. So, pag-aaralan natin kung paano kumuha ng estimate. Now, let's have example number 1. Find the principal root of square root of 49. So, isa-isahin natin ulit. So, start tayo sa 1. 1 times 1, we have 1. Next, 2 times 2, we have 4. Next, 3 times 3, we have 9. So, gagawin natin tong pagmumultiply hanggang makarating tayo sa 49. Next, 4 times 4, we have 16. Next, 5 times 5, we have 25. Next, 6 times 6, we have 36. Next, 7 times 7, we have 49. So, ayun, meron na tayong 49 dito. So, ano ba daw yung principal root? So, etong kulay green, yan yung ating mga square root. May radicand and may square root sign. Then, itong violet, yung pinagmumultiply natin sa sarili nila, yan yung ating mga root or principal root. So, if meron na tayong square root of 49 dito, ano naman yung principal root natin? Okay. So, our principal root is 7. So, kaya natin nakuha yung 49 na to dahil minultiply natin si 7 sa sarili niya. So, the square root of 49 is equal to positive 7. So, pwede rin nating sabihin na the square root of 49 is equal to positive and negative 7 kapag hinahanap natin yung root. So, paano nangyari yon? So, this means that the square root of 49 is either 7 or negative 7 because 7 times 7, positive 7 times positive 7 is equal to 49. And negative 7 times negative 7 is also 49. So, ang hinahanap natin kanina is yung principal root. So, pwede nating isagot lang kanina is the square root of 49 is just positive 7. It means the square root of 49 has a principal square root of 7 and it is a rational number. Next, let's have example number 2. Determine whether the principal root of square root of 17 is rational or irrational. Again, kapag rational, perfect square. Kapag irrational, hindi siya perfect square. So, let's start again. So, again, 1 times 1, 1, 2 times 2, 4, 3 times 3, 9, hanggang makarating tayo sa 17. 4 times 4 is 16. 5 times 5 is 25. So, nasa 25 na tayo, hindi pa rin natin alam kung nasaan yung principal root ni square root of 17. Kung wala siyang principal root, ibig sabihin, the square root of 17 is equal to positive and negative square root of 17. Hindi siya perfect square. So, kapag hindi siya perfect square, anong tawag sa kanya? Rational or irrational? Alright, irrational. Kasi wala tayong makitang root or principal root na pwede nating i-multiply sa sarili niya na makakakuha tayo ng 17. So again, this is irrational number. So the radicand is 17, which is not a perfect square. Principal root is irrational. Next, example number 3. Between which two consecutive integers does square root of 6 lie? So, mag-start ulit tayo sa 1 hanggang makarating tayo sa 6. So, where's the square root of 6? The question is, which two consecutive integers does square root of 6 lie? So, saan natin matatagpuan si square root of 6? Umabot na tayo ng 9 pero hindi pa rin natin siya makita. Okay, nasa pagitan siya ng square root of 4 and square root of 9. So, square root of 6 lies between the consecutive perfect squares, which is square root of 4 and square root of 9. We all know that 4 is less than 6 and 6 is also less than 9. And then, square root of 4 is less than square root of 6 and less than square root of 9. So, pinapagitnaan si square root of 6 ni square root of 4 and square root of 9. Ang hinahanap natin is two consecutive integers. So, ibig sabihin, kukunin natin yung square root ni 4 and then square root ni 9. So, the square root of 4 is 2. The square root of 9 is 3. It means square root of 6 lies between the consecutive numbers or integers 2 and 3. So, square root of 75 lies between what integers? Okay, kagaya nung example number 3 natin kanina. So, let's start again from 1 hanggang makarating tayo ng 75. So, kanina meron na tayong hanggang 5. So, square root of 25. So, ituloy lang natin. So, 6 times 6, square root of 36. 7 times 7, square root of 49. 8 times 8, square root of 64. 9 times 9, square root of 81. So, nasaan si square root of 75? So, nasa pagitan siya ng square root of 64 and square root of 81. So, the square root of 75 lies between the consecutive perfect squares 64 and 81. So, we have the square root of 64, then square root of 75, and then square root of 81. So, we will get the square root of 64, which is 8, and square root of 81, which is 9. Question is, the square root of 75 lies between what integers? So, yung sinasabi niyang integers is yung 8 and yung 9. It means that the square root of 75 lies between the consecutive integers 8 and 9. When a number is irrational, estimating square roots is a valuable tool. We can approximate the square root of a number by looking for the two consecutive integers between which the square root lies. And irrational numbers never terminate nor repeat. The decimal form of an irrational number is always an estimate of its value. So, let's have example number 5. So, estimate the square root of 10 to the nearest hundreds. So, start tayo sa 1 ulit hanggang makarating tayo ng 10. 1 times 1, square root of 1. 2 times 2, square root of 4. 3 times 3, square root of 9. 4 times 4, square root of 16. 5 times 5, square root of 25. So, nasaan nakalagay yung square root of 10. Alright, so nasa pagitan siya ni square root of 9 and square root of 16. So the principal root of square root of 10 is between the integers 3 and 4. So the problem is we will find the estimate of the square root of 10 to the nearest hundreds. So by estimating, so let's try 3.1 times 3.1. We have 9.61. So try naman natin 3.2 times 3.2. We have 10.24. So saan galing tong 3.1 and 3.2? So 'di ba, yung square root of 10 daw natin is nasa pagitan ng ating principal root na 3 and 4. So, ibig sabihin, yung principal root natin ay nandyan lang sa pagitan yan. Hindi bababa ng 3, hindi lalagpas ng 4. So, the square root of 10 must lie between 3.1 and 3.2 kasi sila yung pinakamalapit sa 10. Let's continue the estimation to the hundreds place. So, let's have 3.15 squared. So, saan galing yung 3.15 squared? So, kanina, meron tayong 3.1. 3.1 is equivalent to 3.10. So, pwede tayong maglagay ng 3.11, 3.12, 3.14, ito hanggang 15. So, para saan yung exponent na 2? Ang ibig sabihin yan, kung ilang beses mong imumultiply yung number sa sarili niya. So, we have 3.15 squared or 3.15 times 3.15 is equal to 9.9225. Next, 3.16 squared or 3.16 times 3.16 is equal to 9.9856. Next, 3.17 squared or 3.17 times 3.17 is equal to 10.0489. So, 10 is closer to 9.9856 or dito sa ating 3.16 squared. Therefore, by estimation, the square root of 10 is equal to 3.16. So, ito daw yung mas malapit sa number 10 natin, yung 9.9058. So, ang mangyayari, ang estimation natin to the nearest hundreds is 3.16. Next, let's have example number 6. Estimate the square root of 45 to the nearest hundreds. So, kung ano yung ginawa nating process kanina, ganun din yung gagawin natin. So, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, imumultiply lang natin yan sa sarili nila hanggang makarating tayo sa 45. 6 times 6, 36. 7 times 7, 49. So, nasa pagitan siya ng square root of 36 and square root of 49. So, the principal root of square root of 45 is between the integers 6 and 7. So, ito yung principal roots natin. And it is closer to 75. So, kung mapapansin natin, ito ay 36, ito ay 49. So, saan ba mas malapit yung 45? Okay, doon sa 49 or sa square root of 49 which has a principal root of 7. So, by estimation, let's try 6.7 squared which is 44.89. 6.8 squared which is 46.24, and so the square root of 45 must lie between 6.7 and 6.8. So, 6.7 ay equivalent lang din siya sa 6.70 and 6.8 is equivalent to 6.80. So, let's try. 6.71 squared equal siya sa 45.0241. Next, 6.72 squared or 6.72 times 6.72 equal siya sa 45.1584. Siya yung mas malapit sa 45. So, ang kukunin nating estimate to the nearest hundreds is yung 6.71. Again, the square root of 45 is equal to 6.71. We say irrational numbers, they are found on a number line by approximation. We can plot an irrational number on a number line using its estimated value. Okay, example number 7. Plot the following irrational numbers on the number line: square root of 3, square root of 23, square root of 48. So, using estimates, square root of 3 is closer to 2. What is 2 times 2? We have 4. So, malapit siya sa 3. Next, square root of 23 is closer to 5. 5 times 5 is 25. So, close siya sa square root of 23. Then, 48 or square root of 48 is closer to 7. So, 7 times 7 is 49. By approximation, the given irrational numbers are plotted on the number line on the next slide. So, look at this number line. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So, sa estimation natin, pag inulit natin yung process kanina sa example number 5 and 6, we will get 1.7. So, it means ang location ng square root of 3 natin ay nasa pagitan ng 1 and 2. So, pag pinlat natin si square root of 3, nandito na siya, lampas na siya sa kalahati. Kasi 1.73. Next, square root of 23 is equal to 4.80. Kapag kasi minultiply mo si 4.80 sa sarili niya, ang magiging sagot natin is 23. So, ipa-plot natin siya. So, 4.8. Ibig sabihin, nasa pagitan siya ng 4 and ng 5. Sapit na siya dito sa 5. Next, square root of 48 is equal to 6.93. When we multiply 6.93 by itself, we will get 48. So, pwede natin siya i-plot between 6 and 7. Okay. So, plot the following points on a number line. So, we have point A, square root of 7, point B, square root of 38, point C, square root of 43, point D, square root of 92, and point E, square root of 105. So, pag inestimate natin siya, ito yung magiging itsura ng number line natin. Si point A, nasa pagitan ni 2 and 3. Point B and point C, nasa pagitan ni 6 and 7. Point D, nasa pagitan ni 9 and 10. And then si point E, nasa pagitan ni 10, ang kasunod ni 10 is 11. So, yan yung pwesto nila kapag nilagay natin or pinlat natin yung mga points na yan sa number line. Let's have learning task number 1. Write R if the square root of the number is rational and I if irrational. So, what is the square root of 81? Alright, we have 9. So, what is that? Rational or irrational? Okay, very good. 9 is rational. Next, what is the square root of 121? Okay, we will have 11. So, 11 is a rational number. Next, square root of 29. What number are we going to multiply by itself? Then, we will get 29. Pwede ba yung 5? No, magiging 25 yon. Pwede ba yung 6 times 6? No, magiging 36. So, this is not a rational number. So, our answer is I. Next, how about 67? What number are we going to multiply by itself to get 67? Meron ba? Okay, wala. So, this is irrational. Next, number 5. What is the square root of 225? So, anong number yung pwede nating i-multiply sa sarili? Na makukuha natin is 225. Okay, very good. 15 times 15 is equal to 225. So, this is letter R or rational. Next, letter B. Between what two integers the square root of the numbers can be found? So, 23. So, may nakikita ba kayong 23 dito? Okay, wala. Nasaan kaya nakapwesto si 23? Sa pagitan ba ni 1 and 4? Or sa pagitan ni 4 and 9? Or sa pagitan ni 16 and 25? Okay, very good. So, 16 or square root of 16 and square root of 25. Kapag kinuha natin yung principal root nila or square root nila, we will have 4 and 5. So, the two integers between 23 is 4 and 5. Next, number 2, 113. So, yan, meron na tayo ditong hanggang square root of 81. So, tuloy natin hanggang square root of 113. 10 times 10, 100. 11 times 11, square root of 121. 12 times 12, 144. So, saan natin pwede makita ang 113? Alright. Between square root of 100 and square root of 121. So, let's get their square root, 10 and 11. Means square root of 113 is between two consecutive integers 10 and 11. Next, number 3, 339. So, ituloy natin tong 12 times 12 natin kanina. So, 13 times 13, square root of 169. 14 times 14, square root of 196. 15 times 15, square root of 25. 16 times 16, square root of 256. 17 times 17, square root of 289 or 289. 18 times 18, square root of 24. And 19 times 19, square root of 361. So, saan siya napagitnaan? Alright, we have square root of 324 and square root of 361. So, let's get the square root of these two. So, we have 18 for square root of 324 and 19 for the square root of 361. So, the square root of 339 is between 18 and 19. Next, number 4. 640. So, ituloy natin. Meron na tayo kaninang square root of 400. Next, let's have 21 times 21 is square root of 441. 22 times 22 is square root of 484. 23 times 23 is square root of 529. 24 times 24 is square root of 576. 25 times 25 is 625. 26 times 26 is 676. Okay, lampas na tayo sa 640. So, nasa pagitan siya ng, alright, square root of 625 and 676. So, let's get the square root of these two. So, we have 25 and 26. So, the square root of 640 is between 25 and 26. Next, number 5, 75. So, 75 is between square root of 64 and square root of 81. So, what are the roots of these two? We have 8 and 9. So, the square root of 75 is between 8 and 9. Next, learning task number 2. Tell whether each of the following is a rational or irrational. If it is rational, give the principal root. So, what is square root of 1? Alright, it is rational and its principal root is 1. Square root of 8, okay, it is irrational. Square root of 52, alright, it is irrational also. Next, square root of 256. It is rational. Why? Alright, 16 times 16 is 256. Next, square root of 15. Alright, it is irrational. Letter B. Between which two consecutive integers does the square root lie? So, kagaya lang to nung ginawa natin kanina. So, ilalagay na natin yung answer. So, square root of 129 ay nasa pagitan ng 10 and 11. Square root of 56, nasa pagitan ng 7 and 8. Square root of 19, nasa pagitan ng 4 and 5. Square root of 24, nasa pagitan ng 15 and 16. Square root of 80, 24. Square root of 240 ay nasa pagitan ng 15 and 16. And square root of 80, nasa pagitan ng 8 and 9. Next, estimate the square root to the nearest hundreds. So, since malalaki yung digit natin, ginamitan na natin to ng calculator. Symbol sa calculator and then yung radicand natin. So, square root of 138 is equal to 11.75. Next, square root of 405 is equal to 20.12. Square root of 800 is equal to 28.28. Next, square root of 1150 is equal to 33.91. Square root of 6500 is equal to 80.62. Next, square root of 580 is equal to 24.8 or 24.08. 7. Square root of 300, 17.32. Square root of 284, we have 16.85. And square root of 794 is 28.18. So, pag pinag-multiply natin yung mga number na yan sa sarili nila, ang magiging sagot ay yung given natin. Alright, next. So, plot the following irrational numbers in the number line. Let's say, square root of 15 is equal to 3.87. So, ipa-plot natin yung point sa pagitan ng 3 and 4. So, 0.87 siya. So, medyo malapit sa 4. Okay, next. Square root of 46 is equal to 6.78. So, between 6 and 7. So, let's have here, yan. Diyan siya malapit sa 7 since 0.78 naman na siya. So, that's our square root of 46. Next, square root of 55 is equal to 7.42. So, between 7 and 8. Since 0.42 lang siya, so malapit siya sa gitna. Okay, so that's our square root of 55. Next, number 4, square root of 60 is equal to 7.75. So this is between 7 and 8. Since this is 0.75, so malapit na siya sa 8. Alright, so that's our square root of 60. Next, square root of 96 is equal to 9.8. It is between 9 and 10. So, 0.8. So, malapit sa 10. So, here, yan. Is the square root of 96. So, that's all for today. Thank you.